months ago doing this segment, which was Michelle's idea. It's the WWW, and it's kind of evolved into the stories that she finds that are sometimes wild, sometimes wonderful, and sometimes weird. So Michelle, what do you have for us today?
Well, you want to start with kind of some wacko weird stuff?
I love wacko weird.
I do too, but this one's a little disturbing wacko weird. And I'm sure you've seen it. It's been all over Facebook. The Tennessee woman that walked down the aisle with her 1-month-old baby attached to her train.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting, right?
It was very interesting. And I think what was really, like when I first saw the image, the baby is secured at the back of her train.
Well, you can't really tell if it's secured because there's so many ruffles. You can just tell it's there, kind of suffocating in between.
Or laying there.
Okay, laying.
Yes, laying there. Laying there, nestled in all of these ruffles.
Nestled
in the ruffles of the train. And you can see that all eyes that are there for the ceremony are on the baby. My first thought was, this is not something that I would do, and why wouldn't she just carry the baby?
Exactly.
That was my first thought. Then when I saw some of the comments that, this is child abuse and people actually wanting CPS to be called, I just thought, is it child abuse? I mean, do you think it's child abuse?
I don't know if it's child abuse. I just think it's pure stupidity. But after I saw some of her quotes, it kind of all made sense.
What do you mean?
The answer is, this is her quote, when, because people on Facebook really started attacking this woman.
Sure.
And I don't know that I blame them because, like you said, there's many ways to involve a 1-month-old child. Not that the child is going to know. Now, of course, I can't imagine what this child's going to say when they're 18 and they get to see the pictures of them, on the train of distress. But anyway, one of her response was, the answer is we do what we want, when we want, long as Jesus on our side, everything worked out fine and going to continue to be fine. Most important, while y'all got your feelings in us, we all had our hearts in Christ, which covers all. So y'all mouths running, because it's just that.
Child, please.
And then she joked later that her and her husband were not celebrities, and then she wrote, "Oops, got fans. Guess we is."
Guess we is.
Guess we is. So anyway, I don't know. I think it's crazy and nuts, but hey.
But isn't it interesting that, in this world of public opinion and social media where people are quick to judge others, I have to say, and again, while I don't agree with her, it's not something that I would have done.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to say, please tell me you're not going to find some little infant to put on the train of your dress.
Why the hell would I do that?
I don't know, because at first when you saw it, you're like, she had him swaddling. What'd you say?
Swaddled in the train. Yeah.
Yeah.
The baby was protected and safe, and all eyes were on the baby. Again, while I wouldn't have done it, my point was, and where I was going, was that she didn't back down, and she didn't let people's judgment kind of curtail her feeling about this.
So that is true. You are right.
And maybe I'm coming at this with okay. So when I first saw it, and I saw these comments about child abuse, I couldn't help but immediately go to this mental flash of Skye when she was a baby.
What'd you do?
So I was doing laundry, and Skye wasn't a baby. She was like 1.5. Yeah, she was about 1.5.
Yeah.
So she's at that, she's starting to walk, she's scaling furniture, she's getting into everything.
Right.
And I'm in the laundry room, and I'm trying to just contain her. And I put her in, the tall laundry baskets?
Yeah.
So I
trying to contain her.
Yes. So I put her in one of those as I was moving the laundry. Just then, my mom walks in, takes a picture of this and says, "Really, Chris? Are you kidding me?" So, I mean, in my opinion, I thought she's contained. She's in a tall laundry basket. She's not going anywhere. But so I kind of thought, wow, was that wrong? Would that now, if that picture were uploaded on Facebook, would people attack that as a "what were you thinking" moment?
I don't think so. I think the problem is that, well, one, it's your wedding day. I don't think that people are supposed to be staring at the baby that's laying at the bottom of your train.
True.
So, two, let's hope they all saw the baby, because if anyone approached her too close, they would have stepped on the baby.
True.
So I just don't know. Is it child abuse? No. Like I said, I don't think it's child abuse. I hope there aren't any charges brought up against this woman because of child abuse, but I don't know. Maybe there will be. So here's some wonderful.
Okay.
And kind of weird.
Okay.
Because we can't help the Tennessee woman, Shona Carter. It's done. It's over with. So we can't help her.
Okay.
But there is a tattoo artist.
Yes.
So you saw this.
This is definitely wonderful.
Yes, Vinnie Myers, and he is in Maryland. And he actually does tattoos for breast cancer survivors.
Yes.
So he puts like 3D.
So first the woman has had a double mastectomy and maybe had reconstructive surgery.
Has had implants.
Right. Which the plastic surgeons can do wonderful work of doing the implants and bringing skin in.
Mm-hmm.
But
so they can kind of, construct a nipple,
so that you got that shape.
So you have the shape, but it really is just your skin with some bumps and a tit on there. So this guy goes in and and tattoos it so it looks like a tit.
So that you've got the color and the
shading. So you have the color and the
Yes.
shading and all of that.
Yeah.
And I watched the article on it, and he does 3,000 of these a year.
It's amazing.
And what I really think is neat is he actually was going to stop. He was like, I was going to tell my guys just quit booking them because it was just over. I mean, it was everything. He didn't have time in his day to do what he really felt he wanted to do, which was the rewarding thing if someone comes in with a bad tattoo, or they want to do a tattoo to remember their son or daughter that died, or whatever it might be. And that's what he found, the creative part. Right. And that's what he found rewarding. And this was kind of overtaking that. He was just doing tits all day long. So
you would be surprised that a guy would complain about that. Most guys would be like, I'm doing tits all day.
I can do tits. I can make them whatever I want them to be.
Exactly.
What guy wouldn't love that?
Right.
But he was going to stop. And then his sister called him, and she found out that she had breast cancer. And so he felt that was a sign that he should continue to do this.
Right.
So yeah, 3,000 tits a year, which is what he does.
Before I saw the story, I didn't, I think that the reconstructive surgery, I just assumed that it looked just like, I
guess I never thought about it.
I really never thought about it. And as you watch the woman who's in the video and she's being interviewed, and she's sharing, I mean, this is a real issue to her. Like when I first saw the story, I thought, really? What's going on here? But as you watch it and you see the pain and you see how concerning this is, it's a real concern to her.
Yeah, because she just didn't feel normal anymore.
Right.
She lost, even though you have two little
lumps,
mounds there,
right. and whatever, the shape of the nipple.
Exactly. It doesn't look natural at all.
So for those of you that are listening and not watching,
we're both grabbing our
real
tits right now. And I'm hoping and praying I never have to go see Vinnie Myers.
Right.
So, but I'm glad he's there for people who have to battle that. So,
it's interesting when you say tattoo, the immediate thing that you think of, I think, are the armbands, the sleeves, the decorative tattoos, the tramp stamps, all of those tattoos in various places that are decorative or remembrance or of some nature like that, I don't think you immediately think of tattoos as a way of doing accentuating reconstructive surgery.
Right.
I recently heard from a friend of mine shared with me the story that I found absolutely shocking. And this definitely has a tie-in with what we're talking about with tattoos. Do you color your hair? Like, do you go and have your hair colored?
Well, normally, but it's been a while.
Okay. Have you ever done it at home?
Yes.
Box of Clairol. I think all of us women have done this.
Yes.
Well, a friend of mine, and I'm not going to name names, but a friend of mine, in addition to coloring her hair because she was very, very fair-skinned, she would also color her eyebrows because her eyebrows were so fair-skinned. So she wanted to add a little bit of color to them. So using the Clairol or even the Just for Men home hair coloring kit, she would touch up the color on her eyebrows. Well, she's been doing this for 20 years. Suddenly had an allergic reaction to this. Her skin is burning. It actually burned the hair off of her eyebrows, and she had an allergic reaction. Her throat started swelling up. Her husband, fortunately, realized she's having an allergic reaction, took her to the hospital. Apparently, about 30, so obviously this isn't like mass scale, but about 30 women every year die of this because of this allergic reaction that they have to color.
Really?
So, so she no longer is able to use home hair coloring products.
Right.
And when she lost her eyebrows, she actually went and had her eyebrows tattooed on.
She Sharpied those puppies.
Not Sharpied.
I'm kidding.
It looks, I got to tell you, I was really surprised as I was looking very closely. You couldn't tell at all.
Right.
It was very natural looking. So here's another way that tattoos are being used to help women.
Right.
So I thought that was...
Not all tattoos are bad.
I don't think tattoos are bad. I think that they're an extension of who you are as a person, and hopefully at the time that you had that, you're happy with who you were as a person.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, because my daughter, who's 23 now, has, I don't even know how many tattoos, and it was, when was it, James? 2 nights ago?
What's that?
Desiree. We're talking about Desiree and all her tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2 nights ago, she's laying in bed. I go in to tell her good night, and her shirt's kind of up a little bit. She's got a little tank top on and little, booty shorts or whatever you want to call them. And her tank top's up a little bit, and I'm like, what is that? And she goes, I told you I was going to get another tattoo. I'm like, this thing is like covers her whole side. I mean, it's huge. It's, what's the name? Tim Burton.
Okay.
It's the start of that.
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, it's this huge piece, and I'm like, when did you? I mean, she already has. This is all done. This is all done. She's got something on this side. She's got FU right here. She's got her dog's paw print on her foot. She's got Always Love on her other foot. She's got stuff everywhere, and now she has this huge piece she's working on right here. So she's going to be covered. I already know that.
What would be interesting is to get something that over time is going to change as your body changes. Like, get a little giraffe.
It'll change if you change.
If you get a little giraffe on your boob as you grow, it's going to grow.
Yeah. Well, I have a tattoo right here, and so when I was pregnant, it got bigger. So it does get bigger.
Do you regret
get bigger.
any of your tattoos, and would you ever have any removed?
I don't know that I would have. Everyone asked me, my first tattoo, lots of people that know me know, but is the 7-Up dot. Do you remember the 7-Up dot?
Yes.
The little guy with the little white gloves and the sunglasses. And that was my first tattoo. And I've had, people say to me, are you going to get that, are you going to take that off? Are you going to change that? Do you regret that? And I really don't. I still do not regret my 7-Up dot. I love my 7-Up dot. So, no, I don't think I regret any of my tattoos.
You should at least get it touched up. Otherwise, it looks like like an old concert T-shirt from 1984 that you're still wearing around, like an REO Speedwagon.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Vintage is in. Worn out vintage stuff is in, babe.
Okay. I'm just saying, if it's like if I had a 3-wolf moon, 3 wolves tattooed with a howling at the moon on my shoulder over here, I'd have to get a cover up because people would be like, that's when you lived in Apache Junction and before you could afford a dentist, and now you're really stepping up, James. So you need to get that covered up. That's all I'm saying.
I guess he's saying I need to get my 7-Up dot touched up.
Just get it touched up.
I don't think it looks that bad.
It needs coloring. It needs filled in.
I'll go
time.
today.
It's like, you know.
I'll go today and have
Please video it.
I will.
Okay, I'll have it done.
We should all go get tattoos together. We should do a tattoo show.
I would love to get a new tattoo, and here's the reason why. My first ever tattoo was of an orchid, and it's faded. It definitely needs to be touched up, and it's just like this little orchid on my shoulder.
It's too small.
It's small. It needs.
Well, if you're gonna do an orchid, I mean, it needs to be done. I mean, it needs to be bigger,
right,
so that you can tell. Like the size of that tattoo is more like a rose. You know, like the typical little rose that people get.
I feel like it just needs something more.
You just need to get big, go big.
I need something big on my shoulder right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally want to get something done over it. That'd be fun to do it during a show.
I think
so if
we
you're
could.
just tuning in, we're talking about tattoos, and I would love to hear from you. What do you have a tattoo experience that you like, a tattoo that you got that you wish you had not gotten?
And what is it?
And what is it?
We have
and
to
where
know what
is
it is.
Yes.
And where?
And will you share pictures with us? I am so grateful for a tattoo artist that convinced me and talked me out of getting a tattoo, because I've got an armband that I love, and it's all about my daughter and, you know, just family heritage and stuff like that, which I came up on the spur of the moment, which is not a good thing. I was really lucky. But I went in to get this tattoo done, and I was going to copy. My ex-husband had created an armband, and so I was going to get one that looked just like his, and he like kind of sold me on it. Look, we could have matching, blah blah blah. The tattoo artist pulled me aside and said, "You know, most marriages fail. You sure you want to do this?" I'm not even kidding.
Are you serious?
I'm not even kidding. And then I immediately went to my mental Rolodex of every couple that I know that's been married.
Yeah.
My mom 3 times, divorced. I went, you know what? You're right.
I'll do something different.
Yeah. And so I went outside and I thought about it a little bit, and I thought about what mattered to me and what was important, and then I came up with this. And the tattoo artist, I kind of explained it to him, and then he created it, and thank you.
There's definitely good tattoo artists and not good tattoo artists. I mean, absolutely. And it really has nothing to do with whether they can draw, like how artistic they are. It's as far as, like you said, that they can kind of see into you as a person, and
Absolutely.
Is it really what you want? I know my tattoo guy, Los, when I did my armband, I was in so much pain at the end of it. And I said, I don't want to do the underneath piece, which was my sign, because I have all my kids' signs.
Right.
And I said, and I was going to put my sign on the underneath. And I'm like, you know what? Nope, I'm not doing it. It hurts like hell. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. And he goes, well, I'm going to say 2 things. 1, you already paid for it, so you're not getting any money back. And 2, you can be like every other pussy that comes in here and says they want an armband, and then they don't get a full armband. And I'm like, God damn it. Okay, do it. Just do it. And it hurt like hell. But I'm glad he did it.
Well, I didn't have that tattoo artist, because when my tattoo artist got to the inside part, I pussied out.
You pussied out?
Oh, yeah. It was supposed to go all the way around. And I was like, no.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
So when your daughter, Sky recently told me that we were back up. We were driving through the complex at where my mom lives, and this woman is walking her dog, and one arm is completely sleeved. And it was really interesting, because 40 years ago, if you saw somebody with an arm that was completely sleeved, I think the perceptions and feelings around that were one thing. But now, Sky saw that and was like, I love that. What kind of a job could I have when I'm an adult where I could have one arm completely sleeved? And I was like, well, why one arm? And she said...
She said what? What did she say?
I want to throw something at Rob now.
Well, here, give me something.
Comment.
I'll just throw it. There we go.
You threw it at James.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, James.
I'm going to pop all your tires on the way to the studio. Good luck getting home. Bye.
So anyway.
So she said she wanted one arm completely sleeved, because then she could be like Jekyll and Hyde. I'm tattooed. I'm not. I'm tattooed. I'm not. But she really wanted to have one arm that was completely sleeved.
Yeah.
So then we were kind of going through what different professions. And really, I think that if you are a professional and you are great at what you do, if you're an expert, if you are, I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters. However, and this is what I've told Desiree, and I will say that she has stuck to it, and I'm proud of her for that. And what she said, what I've told her is, don't get one anywhere that you can't hide it. So if you are going into an interview, don't have all over your hands and your wrists and things
or
that
your
face, or your face or the front of your neck. Put them somewhere where you can hide it. So she is not doing full sleeves. She is just doing 3/4, like halfway sleeves.
Okay.
She wants to go into child services, so she's going to wear short sleeve shirts. But she can hide it if she needs to. So that's what I would.
What about neck tattoos and hands?
No.
I think anything on the face, like automatically, and I judge them. I stereotype you right then and there, and I wouldn't hire you just because I don't know.
I mean, I have one on the far back of my neck, but my hair covers it. So
I would think your life choices have sucked. So that's why Michelle's not going to get a job here. I'm kidding. She's got a neck tattoo. I'm kidding.
I do have a neck tattoo, and actually, I am the fault of Desiree's tattoo fetish because when she turned 18, I said, if you want a tattoo, I'll take you to your first one. We'll get matching ones. So we have matching ones. The ones on our neck are matching ones.
It says really bad cool. Mother effer on it. That's what it says.
It does not. It's eternal love in Japanese. So we got that together matching.
And are you sure that they spelled it right?
It's probably a recipe for like teriyaki chicken or something.
It's not, everyone. I checked like 5 different places to make sure it was the correct statement.
Sorry.
That would suck so bad.
Can I have the number 5 on the back of her necklace?
Listen, I don't plan on going to Japan, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I think that's really cool that at 18 you and your daughter did that together.
Yeah, so Sydney is 16 and she's already trying to think of where her and I are getting our matching ones.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I got my stupid little orchid on my shoulder when I was 18, and my mom truly didn't think I was actually going to do it because I'm terrified of needles. But yeah, I did it.
You did it. Good job.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you pussied out on your arm, though.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So when you watch football this upcoming season, look at all the football players. They're pussies, too. Their armbands don't go all the way around. So
all right.
Then you won't feel so bad. Yeah. And 300-pound linebacker.
You're just a dainty little girl compared to them.
That's right. And I rock.
A dainty little girl.
Don't girls want to be dainty? You don't want to be like, you don't want to have hair on your knuckles and be like, I'm a badass. Oh, you guys are girls. You're supposed to be pretty and.
But when you say dainty, I hear like
breakable.
Yes.
No, I don't. I mean like thin, attractive, pretty. Like that's what dainty is to me.
Okay, I like that. Okay.
If I would have said you were, I wouldn't. I didn't say timid or frail.
It's not like you were saying you're just a girl.
Yeah, we went shooting together. Yeah. We've done some.
Yeah.
We drank Coors Light together and party like rock stars. No, maybe we haven't.
Yeah, no more partying like rock stars.
Yeah, no more partying like rock stars
in this foursome. So anyway. Moving right along, we're going to go to the Beastie Boys. Do you remember the Beastie Boys?
I love the Beastie Boys. Love them.
I didn't know until I read this article. Did you know 2 of them are dead already?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know. I knew Adam was dead, but I didn't know about the other one. When did he pass away?
Yeah. No, Adam is not dead. Adam 80 Rock Horovitz was at the courtroom. The one that, let's see, the one that died was, let me get to it. Hold on, guys. He died when he was, there must be 2 Adams. There were 2 Adams in the group.
Yeah.
So Adam MCA Yonch died in 2012.
Yeah, I remember
47
that one.
from cancer.
Yeah.
But anyway, they won a lawsuit with Monster Energy drinks, and they were awarded $1.7 million. So I was thinking that's the most money they've seen in a long time.
Yeah, jurors chose to award $120,000 each for each of the 10 violations of copyright infringement. Sabotage, so what you want, make some noise, pass the mic, looking down the barrel of a gun. At first when I saw the story, I thought, it'd be great to play little clips of these during, but then I thought
they might sue us.
They might sue us.
Well, they're not going to get $1.7 million. I can tell you that right now. So go for it, Beastie Boys. So yeah, so that's the news for the Beastie Boys world. Does anyone even, do they do anything? They don't do anything anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
Yeah. So see, they need those royalties.
They do.
Yeah, they do. And I thought this was a cute story. Oh, do we have to break?
You have
we'll do
about
this.
4 minutes.
Okay, so let's talk about the story because I think it's awesome.
Unless you want to take a break now and then come back on the other side and do it.
No, it's a short little story. We'll do it. That's fine. This story is in Australia, and this is about a man who turned 100. He's 100 years old.
We'll turn 100.
Yeah, like this week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's real soon. So anyway,
hopefully he'll turn 100.
He's got tattoos also.
Oh, that's so mean.
Well, I mean, at that point, when you're 100,
it's this week.
Anything could happen. There's no guarantees.
Oh my God, if you just jinx him, if he dies before he's 100, I'm blaming you.
I don't
You
have
just
that kind of
jinxed him.
control.
No limits
You
has been
just threw
canceled.
it out in the universe. Where are all my woohoo listeners? I know you're out there. If you throw shit out in the universe, it can happen.
I've been throwing out lottery, all this other positive shit.
Yeah, well, sometimes you throw out the negative, and that's all it takes.
We 69777.
Tell your friend what she just could have possibly done to the universe. Poor Arthur Mullins.
Okay, I take it back.
Okay, yeah, snap, clap real quick. It gets rid of all
Changing
that
up the
little energy.
energy.
That's right, change up the energy. Okay. So, Mr. Mullins, who will be turning 100 this week, later this week, is celebrating his 100th birthday, and he still has the car that he was brought home from the hospital in.
That is amazing. Do you know what car you were brought home from in the hospital? Like, what car you were brought home from the hospital in?
I'm assuming a Chevette. That's all my dad ever owned.
Right?
But I don't know for sure. I certainly wouldn't have kept the damn thing. I can tell you that much. That thing was ugly.
I think the car that my parents brought me home in was like a Gremlin or something like ridiculous like that.
Was it Gremlin? Yeah. So he said that this has been a treasured family asset, and it is actually kind of worth. They don't even know because it is one of the oldest privately owned vehicles in South Australia. He had a gentleman, an investor, come from the UK 20 years ago and offered him a blank check for the car.
Wow.
And he didn't take it. So, good job, Mr. Mullins.
Good job, Mr. Mullins.
We like Mr. Mullins. So that's the wonderful news.
All right, this is No Limits. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about guns, the VA, and what the hell this administration is thinking.
Shit crazy stuff.
How about that bandage? You got your ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. If you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you or someone you know suffering from eczema, diabetes, or vitamin deficiencies? then I can share with you something to help remedy that with health and wellness. It can be a business plan too, which is a great opportunity to meet and interact with all types of people who care about changing lives. So when you are ready to make a difference, call Jamie at 602-295-9969. That's 602-295-9969.
Hey everyone, it's Adam from Vets On. Are you or someone you know looking for employment? Then look no further than iVetX. iVetX is placing veterans with the right hiring companies. Join their mission in putting veterans in inspiring careers with ensured success. Access their national pipeline of military talent for companies. All veterans are pre-screened for 55 soft skill sets, 800 clarification types, education, experience, salary range, and so much more. iVetX can help you find the perfect job to veteran match. Your skills are based on what's needed for success in that job. If you're a hiring company or a veteran looking for your next career, then get started today and go to www.ivetx.com. iVetX, bridging the employer-veteran gap by putting Americans' veterans to work today.
Break.
You're listening to No Limits Radio Show on the Vets on Media Network.
Okay, we're back, and Christina is not a multitasker, so hey, I'm Michelle. Wait, Christina's back!
Hi, I'm back. I'm Christina. I watch all of your, when people post on the page and on my profile and request assistance, I watch that and I try to help whenever possible. So
we are back, and do you remember last week? Was it last week? Yes. We talked about the, help me out here. I just had a brain freeze.
The illegal immigrants?
Yes, the illegal immigrants that were dropped off from Texas.
Yo no sé.
What?
No habla inglés.
Here in Arizona. So they were, I think there were 400?
Yes.
So Jan Brewer wrote a letter to the president and regarding this and asking for him to please stop, basically. As the governor of Arizona, I'm deeply concerned about this troubling policy and the adverse impact on the illegal aliens as well as to Arizona. It is especially discerning to me that DHS instituted this operation without any notification to my office, the Arizona Department of Public Safety, or the Arizona Department of Homeland Security. We instead learned of this action from the news media. Our nation and the state of Arizona face significant challenges stemming from your administration's refusal to carry out its responsibility to secure our country's southern border. State and local governments, law enforcement agencies, healthcare providers, and nonprofit organizations are all stretched to the breaking point, attempting to manage these new challenges. By systematically transporting and releasing more illegal aliens into Arizona, your administration will exacerbate this point. So she is asking that it's she's basically said it's a disturbing example of a deliberate failure to enforce border security policies.
And it absolutely is. And many of these people that are coming here are seeking asylum. They're leaving Central America to come here. And so there is definitely a real problem. We have offered asylum to others. So I'm not criticizing that assistance is being offered. It's just that the way that they're doing it is absolutely ridiculous. To just bring people and dump them off in Arizona where we've got 100 degree temperature. Now, I will say, Greyhound, I applaud them for the way that they're handling this. They've extended their hours, allowing the people that are being dropped off there to use cell phones, and they are trying their best to coordinate this entire process with Department of Homeland Security. Greyhound is a private business.
Yeah.
So the fact that they have stepped up to make the best of this, I think is a smart move on their part.
Well, like you said, this is Arizona. Drop them off somewhere where it's at least cooler.
Right.
It's already 111 this week. It's hot.
We've had excessive heat temperatures this past week. They're bringing them here, in some cases, without diapers, without formula.
Without food and water.
Exactly.
The infants, they're important, and diapers are important, but these people don't even have food or water.
Right.
They cannot survive in these temperatures, for a very long period of time with this with nothing.
Exactly.
So anyway, so good job, Governor Brewer, I think, for calling out our president, because not too many people have these days.
And it doesn't seem that you can. I mean, the minute that you critique, not that it's going to do you any good, because the minute that you critique this administration, you're called a racist. I mean, you are. That's the immediate reaction.
Right. And it really has nothing to do with his color.
No.
At all. I mean, the reality is he has time and time again, we have been disappointed in his actions. And to be honest, a lot of them are, he's breaking the law.
Right.
And he's still there. Like, how did Nixon get booted so quickly?
Right.
Maybe it wasn't quickly. I mean, I was, just a toddler, but it seemed like everything you hear about it, it was like he did something wrong and he was gone.
So if you don't agree with us and you want to chime in, give us a call, 602-399-7787. Give us a call. What do you think about this administration?
And we're going to get into more of his errors and things like that. But I did want to say kudos to Governor Brewer for doing that, because someone needs to call him to it.
And Governor Brewer has not been shy about speaking up to the President of the United States. You know, we had the whole wagging her finger at him. It'll be interesting to see who we have as governor up next. So I'm curious to see who we vote in as governor.
And it'll be sad to see her go.
It will be sad to see her go. I think she's done some good stuff for Arizona.
I do too. So we're talking a little bit. Last week we were going to talk about gun control.
Yes.
And we kind of didn't get into it too much. We ran out of time.
We did.
I was reading some articles today. I know you posted one about a gentleman in 2010 in Seattle.
No, this was just last week. This was just this week.
No, but it goes back to 2010.
Yes.
His history with everything goes back 4 years.
Yes.
So bring us up to date on this one. And you knew I was going to. You posted it, girl.
Yep.
Yep. It's Seattle. I can help you with where it is. It's Seattle.
You know what's really interesting is I get these Associate Press updates to my phone all the time. And my sister used to live in Seattle. So when I got this update about something going on, a shooting at a university in Seattle, I immediately, I kind of had a heart attack. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, where's my sister? Oh no, she's not in Seattle anymore. She's in Portland. So, Aaron Ybarra. Ybarra. 2 years ago, 911 responded to a call where he wanted to hurt himself and others. 2 years later, officers responded again, this time finding him lying in the middle of the street in front of a suburban Mount Lake Terrace home, ranting drunkenly for a SWAT team to get him and make him famous. He came into the Seattle Pacific University armed with a shotgun and more than 50 shells. This was on Thursday of last week. He fatally shot and killed a 19-year-old freshman and wounded 2 other people. He was stopped because of another student who had pepper spray and was able to basically take him down. So it was really interesting to, when I saw this story, here again we have another issue of guns at a school, which schools are crime-free zones. These are zones that guns are not allowed. Thankfully, this other student had, he was a building monitor. His 22-year-old John Meese was a building monitor, and he had pepper spray on him and was able to use the pepper spray to subdue the gunmen.
Well, and the issue of the story, and there is another one also that I found. Someone just came forward and kind of told their story, and this was actually in Arizona. But the issue is that this guy has a clear reported case of mental illness.
Right.
And supposedly, when there is supposed to be a check done when you go in to purchase a gun. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but isn't there some type of a list, like a federal list of anyone who has some type of they've been admitted into a mental institute and things like that?
Yeah, if you have a mental illness, you have to check a box that says when you buy a firearm, have you ever this and this and this, and you shouldn't be able to get a firearm the legal way.
But let me ask you this: isn't there similar to with healthcare?
Right.
Okay, if I am diagnosed with diabetes, okay, and I go from one insurance company to another, that insurance company knows I have been diagnosed with diabetes because of a database that they have. So meaning, even if I fill out the application incorrectly and I lie and say I don't have diabetes,
Right.
they are going to check that in the medical database, and they're going to find out that I have diabetes.
Absolutely.
So isn't there something there that regardless of what I put on that application when I go to get a gun, isn't there some type of screening that's done?
Yeah, it goes through a national database.
So why doesn't it work?
It usually does work. Maybe he got the gun. Does it say that he got the gun from? I can sell you my gun, and I'm not going to do a background check on you if you say, hey, I got this. Because if you come to crime with it, I'd be like, I didn't know he was a felon. You know, it's like selling a car.
So that's the question, though. When we have, and that's what we're talking about. When we have an issue where there's gun violence,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes there's a mental issue associated with it. So is the problem guns, or is the problem the mental health issue and the fact that we're really not doing all that we can to help people that are struggling with mental health issues?
Exactly, and then you start going down the road. Well, what type of mental issue? Because you're thinking, what about baby blues?
Right.
You have a woman that has postpartum depression, or a guy that's maybe his wife just left him, or vice versa, and so he's depressed. Not a typical type of, he doesn't have mental illness, but when you let the federal government in, it's where do you stop him at the door?
What is mental health?
Yeah.
A person who maybe they were treated for depression and they were put on a medication to treat that caused a psychotic experience, schizophrenia, which happens a lot. So does that mean that person who has a diagnosis of having depression, having a schizophrenic episode, are they therefore never allowed to own a gun?
Schizophrenic episode? I think so.
I think schizophrenia, yeah, I would not want them to own. If we're talking just depression,
if you have depression and you are put on a medication that induces a schizophrenic episode,
okay,
and then you are recovered from that and deemed mentally well because of that one incident, you should never be allowed to own a gun?
I'm not, no. If it was induced by, something that a doctor prescribed, I would say it's beyond your fault. And if it's definitely something you can recover from, then why not? The VA has a program where if I can't handle my own finances, I can bring in a caregiver to take care of that. Because I cannot take care of my finances, I can also not buy firearms. Because they say if you don't have the mental capacity to take care of your finances, then you shouldn't be allowed to own firearms. And I don't know. I don't really agree with that. Maybe you just can't. You're not good with money or something like that.
But how do they stop you?
They don't.
I was gonna.
I know guys. I know a lot of guys,
you?
and they still have their guns, and they just say, I got rid of them. And their wife takes care of them, or their mother, and they're mentally fine. They're good guys.
So you brought up a good point, and that was, if I were to sell my firearm to you, I'm not going to do a background check. So when we have private transactions, should there be a check in place there?
I'd have a hard time with that, because then you're going to ask them, what about selling a boat? Me selling you a boat, and then we already have, getting the government involved. Okay,
but if you sell a boat, that's a boat is a titled vehicle, so the government is involved in that.
It is, but as far as like the sale and all this stuff, and what do we have to do, and there's more paperwork. The less the government's involved in my life, the better I feel.
But here's the difference, though, is that you're someone who, if you did a sale of a firearm, you would be selling it to someone that you've known. More than likely, you would be selling it to someone that you know. You're not going to put it on Craigslist and sell it to some complete stranger, you're responsible enough that you're going to sell it to someone that you know. However, there are many people out there that that's not the case.
Right.
You know, that they can just sell a gun to, like I said, they can post it on Craigslist and sell it to some random person that they know nothing about.
Right.
So I think that I'm going to go against James on this. There does need to be some type of control with private gun sales.
Then move to Russia, if you want to do that.
What's that?
Told her to move to Russia. Vacate my country. Post haste, Michelle.
Well, I mean, that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. That's
No.
So what about when a family member, let's say you want to will your gun to another family member? Should there be a gun check involved there?
You can't even will your guns.
You can't?
You are not. Yeah, legally you cannot will your guns.
Really? Even
Yes.
if it's some, like, what if I had, like, my great-grandfather's...
It has to be, I think, before a certain date, like an 1800 date. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So could a family member sell it to another family member before they die?
You could. What happens most times is when a family member dies, you just come over and you take those firearms, or you take them all, or whatever it is. You know, you don't bring but you're not supposed to. You can't put them in a will.
You basically gift them to someone before you die.
Exactly.
And what would happen if you didn't gift it to somebody else? Then family members just have to come and take it?
Yeah, they just come and take it.
So theft is okay.
Well, but I would rather like you guys, if I passed away, come over and take my firearms, or stay somewhere that somebody I know, than to have the federal government take them and end up in a locker for 30 years or 10 years and then get destroyed.
Right.
And I'm a big Second Amendment advocate, so.
It was interesting, though, as this whole topic about gun control has been going back and forth. And again, we're talking about gun control because we're talking about it as it relates to these shootings, where in almost every case, the person who has obtained the firearm is struggling with some mental health issues. But it's interesting because as these conversations have been going back and forth in the Facebook world, the real are saying pneumatic weapons. You don't need that many guns. And I immediately kind of thought of, what about shoes and purses? Like, what if somebody came into my house and said, you don't need this many pairs of shoes. You don't need all of this. I mean, why is it the position of one person to say what another person needs?
Well, I think the problem of this is guns, and this is people going out and killing people.
But who's to say
unless
how many is too many?
Unless you're going to put a stiletto in someone's eye.
Oh, shoes could be
I've
dangerous.
seen it on Deadly Women on the ID channel. Yeah, it can happen.
You remember that kid that just killed all those people in California, that kid that had like zero social skills? He was like 21 with a BMW.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he used a gun, but he also used a knife, and he also used his car. So,
right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I could find something in this room, and I'm sure any one of us. There's 4 of us in the studio.
I think you come to that skill uniquely. Okay. I am pretty sure that as hard as I try this bullshit buzzer, I'm not going to be able to kill you with this. Now, you, on the other hand, might be able to take somebody out with this.
No, well, I'm thinking
because the government has trained you well, my friend.
Well, I just, I think it goes back on, we really need to address the issue of mental illness, and if you have schizophrenia, if you have you're hallucinating, certain things that, or certain diseases or episodes that we know as a society that's been, that has factual data against it, to where you cause more violence and harm when you suffer from this versus this one over here.
And I think that's the real issue. The real issue is mental health and how we deal with it. There was a time when husbands and family members could actually commit another family member. Because of what happened at that time period, we've moved away from that. So It doesn't matter how batshit crazy I think you are, I can't commit you. And a lot of times what happens is you have, like in the case of the California shooter, in the case of just about, what was the one, Newtown? Yes, where he ended up shooting his mother. So you had family members that identified there is an issue here, there is a threat, but the person that was going to eventually pose that threat was a adult. So the family members could do nothing.
Can't do anything at all.
Right. So there has to be, when you have a diagnosis, when you have a mental health issue and your family is involved and they see what's going on, there has got to be legislation to allow the family members to step in and do something and get support.
And our insurance has to change. Because the reality is I think a standard health insurance, you get, 12 counseling, you know what I mean? If you're talking about someone who maybe they're not so batshit crazy that they need to be institutionalized, but they definitely have issues that they need help so that they don't become that person that needs institutionalized. Absolutely. I think it's 12 visits a year.
Well, depending on which insurance carrier you have.
Depending.
And some insurance,
you have none.
Mental health is not an issue, is not available to you.
Right. And that is the issue. So has anyone looked at the Obamacare? What is the mental health benefits in Obamacare? Has anyone looked? Because I haven't gone on to Obamacare. So does anyone know what mental health is covered?
I have no idea. And then you look at what did I read you? 89% of employers in the next 10 years are going to drop health care from their plans. So there goes health. There goes, then you tie in mental health care to that.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about. The fact that most insurance companies are only going to cover 12 visits a year. You know, so that's really not that much. So I wonder, and I'll have to look into that to see what Obamacare actually covers when it comes to mental health.
Well, and it's interesting because while President Obama was campaigning for the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, one of the things that he kept referring to is the VA health system, and that the government is already providing health care, which we're looking at and seeing what a scandal there is with the VA health care provided. So obviously the government isn't able to provide health care adequately.
Right, but the problem with that and that statement is that he's implying that the only mental health people out there are people that can go to the VA. What about people who aren't the VA? I can't go to the VA.
No. You misunderstand. I'm saying that the government is trying to say that based on the success that the government has already had with providing mental coverage, and they refer to the VA.
Gotcha. I was going to say, what are you talking about? That's horrible. Okay. Yeah, well, the VA is, we know it's not.
While President Obama was campaigning and promoting and saying, making the case for the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, he referred to the
VA as doing it successfully.
Yes, exactly. And we can see that, with 113-day wait times, that, and 40 deaths that were associated here in Phoenix alone.
Just in Phoenix.
Right. Could you imagine calling up the doctor and saying, I want to make an appointment and getting a 113-day wait time? If it's more than a week, I'm furious.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable that it's taken this long for this to come out. Is what is shocking to me.
And that's the thing that I'm surprised by, because it would seem to me, and this is something that I want someone to look into, and I hope that in the coming weeks someone will. When you're not happy with the way things are going in your state, what's one of the resources? You're going to call your representatives. You're going to call McCain. You're going to call whoever your representative is. You're going to call them. So I'm really curious to find out if there have been phone calls into the representatives about this. Did McCain know about this? Now, he's put together a bill, the McCain-Perkins bill, which essentially will allow veterans that can't get services in a timely manner. Now, what is a timely manner? Because what is a timely manner to me and what is a timely manner to the government may not be the same thing, but he wants them to be able to, if they can't get the services in a timely manner at the VA, that they should be able to go to other doctors.
Now, see, that is asinine to me that even needs to be a bill.
Well, the reason that it has to be a bill is so they can get funding.
No, but what I'm saying is the VA has funding, and the VA has just. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm saying that it's crazy to me that we have to have a bill to say that our veterans, if they're going to the VA and the VA is saying, oh, well, we can't get you in for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, that's what shouldn't be happening. The VA needs reconstruction to where that isn't happening.
Absolutely.
The bill doesn't need to happen. They need to reconstruct the VA so when a veteran calls and needs an appointment, they get them in.
Right.
Hire more doctors, hire more nurse practitioners, whatever you
Or
need to do.
outsource it and send them
Or
somewhere
outsource
else.
it correctly.
Yeah.
But to do another bill and let's do more funding for something, that's stupid. Just let's get the VA right.
And I agree with you, but if that's what it, like, and I don't understand the bureaucracy of it. I don't understand the behind the scenes of it. If that's the step that needs to take place so that they can make that happen, then fine.
But how long does that process take?
True.
And how long does it take for, how long does it take, okay, I call the VA and they say, we have a 90-day wait period. Maybe they get it down to 60. We have a 60-day wait period. So now I go to this bill, and how do I get to that? And how long then does it take me to get the red tape completed from the VA, which will allow me to go and back up on this bill? Because it is a bunch of red tape.
It absolutely is. And it's because of the bureaucracies involved that we even got to this place. It's because of pay raises. The people who are at that are behind the secret lists and all that was going
100,000 veterans were on were actually on this secret list that wasn't even a list. It was just fake. Unbelievable.
And the reason for that list was so that people that were in high positions could get raises and could get
bonuses.
I'm glad you guys are bringing that up because it seems like now with this Bo Bergdahl thing happened, that they just forgot about it.
Well, I think that's exactly why President Obama made this happen so quickly. The whole reason that that after 5 years of him being in captivity, and yes, there's multiple things of, why he was there, why they kept him alive, and all this other stuff, and what his beliefs are, and everything else. There's all that type of stuff going on. But the reality is I find it funny that after 5 years, and apparently they've been talking about negotiations with them for at least like 2 years.
They started in 2009, like after they were talking back and forth. It was some secret group or some the Eclipse group. It was ran by a former CIF. And
let's get to Bergdahl in a few minutes.
Okay.
No. But what I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that it's amazing to me that right when all these other states are coming out and this VA is going everywhere, that all of a sudden he is released within 24 hours. There's no talk with Congress. There's no whatever. It's just Obama. You know what? Shit's getting deep on the VA. We got to do something to change it. And that's exactly what happened.
And it is interesting that those decisions are able to be quickly made. And to your point, that a bill has to be put in place so that our veterans can get the help that they need and that they deserve. We have better treatment for people that are in prison and people that are terrorists that have, that are being held in Guantanamo Bay. We have better treatment for them than for our veterans. It is ridiculous. It is scandalous. And the people that were behind the decision-making process need to be put in prison. It's criminal. It absolutely is criminal.
And on that note, because Christina's pissed.
I'm pissed off.
We've got to take a break.
We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Would your goal be to get you and your family out of debt? I can show you how thousands of people and families are doing just that. This is a business plan made simple. We offer everything from weight loss products to green cleaning solutions. Whether you're interested in making it a full-time or part-time opportunity to become debt-free, or if you are just sick and tired of being sick and tired, call Jamie at 602-295-9969. That's 602-295-9969.
Breaker 19. How about that bandit? You got your ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details.
You're listening to the No Limits Radio Show on the Vets On Media Network.
All right, welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about the VA, and we were talking about the inability to give our veterans the care that they so desperately deserve and should have. I find it really interesting that we're able to provide the care that we are able to people that are in prison and people that are terrorists and that are being held at places like Guantanamo Bay. We have all of their wishes and their demands, their special diet, all of these things are provided to them, and we can't provide our veterans adequate health care. Mm-hmm. That is outrageous. And I said before the break that the people that made those decisions and that were behind that, I think there should be criminal charges brought against them. I absolutely think that that should happen.
Well, I hope the one thing that is changed because of this is nowhere in any healthcare system, whether we're talking about the VA, we're talking about Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're talking about Aetna, nowhere in healthcare should any of the pay structures be based off of bonuses, period. Right. Because the reality is you are going to get people in there that are greedy, and greed is all that's going to matter. And healthcare should be just that. It should be very similar to doctors take an oath. They take an oath to do what's best. You know what? If you're going to be an administrator at a hospital, you better damn well take that oath too. And you have no right in getting a bonus because of wait times or visit times or anything like that, because all that does is opens the door for people to start figuring out ways around it.
And I think if you work for the federal government, that right there is your bonus. You probably have a better job or have the ability to work your way through the system to have a better job than most Americans. And I would say that the federal government isn't there to be a jobs program. But when I see friends who are bitching that their husband didn't get anything on their route for being a mailman, well, I'm sorry, when you make $30 an hour, you work for me, or you work for the taxpayers, and obviously, the whether it's a garbage man or whatever, your job, you're pretty secure.
Right.
You don't have to worry about do I have a job tomorrow. So there should never be bonuses.
Well, and in the private sector, there's no guarantee of bonuses or pay raises.
No. Well, and also when you do work for the government, you have insurance that is phenomenal.
Right.
You have retirement, which most people, like you said, in the private sector, the companies aren't offering that like they used to. So the reality is you work for the federal government, be happy that you know you're going to have retirement. You know, you have good insurance. So be happy with that. And it's not like their salaries were $24,000 a year. I mean, these administrators were making.
Sharon Hellman was making, for the Phoenix VA, was making $170,000 a year.
That's before bonuses.
That's before bonuses.
That was her salary.
Is ridiculous.
Disgusting.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting when this came out. We're at the height of the VA scandal, and this next story, Bo Bergdahl, that we obviously all know now, he was traded for 5 Taliban prisoners. And what's interesting to me, you know, when this story came out, I was pissed. I was pissed that there was a 1-for-5 trade. I mean, what does that tell? What does that say about the value of an American's life for Taliban prisoners? Like, 1 American equals 5? I don't know what kind of Common Core math that is right there, and who can explain that to me, because it doesn't make sense. But after my initial anger, I kind of had calmed down a bit, and then yesterday I learned this, and I'm just as pissed off. This hurts my brain, that the Pentagon wanted a 5-for-5. So the Obama administration nixed a Defense Department request to get 5 American hostages, not just Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, in exchange for the 5 Taliban prisoners. So for just a minute, let's talk about that, and then we'll talk more about who Bo Bergdahl was. Was he a deserter? So there are 5 Americans that are being held. Joe Casper, Chief of Staff to House Armed Services Committee member Duncan Hunter, a California Republican, said late Thursday that the Pentagon aimed to free Caitlin Coleman of New York, Pennsylvania, and her baby, who was born in captivity, along with her Canadian husband, Joshua Boyle, as part of a broader goal. Also on the America's Wish list was Warren Weinstein, a Maryland man who was abducted in 2011 in Pakistan. A Taliban-signed sect of Al-Qaeda is still holding him captive. How is that okay? How is it that the government just went ahead and decided, nope, we're just going to trade 1-for-5? Well, and there are still people that are in captivity there.
Like I said, I think this whole release of Sergeant Bergdahl has everything to do with get the attention off of the VA. So this was Obama's way of, I need to do, and I think it backfired on him, because I think he thought everyone over here was going to say, oh my gosh, this is great, he's home, which it's not. That's not really how it's all unraveling. But I think that this was Obama's way to get everything off of the VA. So let's get it off the VA. Let's do it quick. He obviously didn't do the 30-day wait period. He didn't even discuss it with Congress.
Right.
And just did it. So I think it was absolutely done just to cover up the VA cover-up.
I totally agree. To take the, I mean, you look at the IRS scandal, Benghazi, Fast and Furious. I mean, just this whole administration has just been plagued with stuff. You know, they're marching to the beat of their own drummer. And you know, I saw the new White House spokesman saying, you know, we don't, you know, we're not, nobody's tried in the court of a public opinion. Yeah, that might be true, but when you sit there and you tell, you know, the public that the guys he served with don't believe them, they're not trustworthy. Well, why did you send them out to get this guy? I tend to believe, you know, a platoon of infantrymen over one guy who's walked away, and you know, there's evidence to show that they say, hey, how come this thing wasn't in the 15-6 report? And for the people that are listening, a 15-6 report is it's an independent report. It's outside of the unit. They bring an outside investigator in. He does everything. There were certain things that weren't included in that, like the note that says, hey, I renounced my citizenship, all this stuff. And I know guys that were in that unit with that guy, and they told me he was a dirtbag. He was just acting weird, and I can relate. I've had guys do weird stuff like that overseas. Am I glad he's home? Yeah, but do I think he should stand trial? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I heard another story that talked about him, and this wasn't the first time that he had deserted, that he had left other times, even before going over there, that here he had, they said it wasn't that he had deserted, he just wandered off. I thought, what? Like, squirrel?
He just, yeah, he's a squirrel. Well, I did read that back home,
distracted.
back home he worked
Shiny
at
sparkly.
when I heard about who he was before he enlisted in the Army, I kind of find it interesting that he did enlist in the Army, because he worked at a coffee shop and has done ballet for several years. So those two things, you just don't tie them into,
Right.
I'm okay with going and, living in a desert with no anything and possibly having to fight for my life, versus is that latte, skim, no whip, just two really weird personalities. It surprises me that he ever enlisted.
And you know what, I think I've met guy objectors, and I ask them, why did you even join? Why did you join? And then a year and a half after you got to permanent party, you had to sign a statement saying that you would never fight or do anything. I said, you were in the wrong. I said, did you miss the Salvation Army, enlistment office? Because that's way different. Those guys get paid on a different scale.
So what was their response to it, though?
It was all about, it circled around religion. That was the biggest common denominator, was a religion. And I said, well, good for you. But I didn't like the guys, because I figured, why do you get to say your life is more valuable than mine by not fighting?
Which is a great point. And, on Friday we just observed the 70th anniversary of D-Day. And as you watch the videos, there's a gentleman that parachutes in, and he's 93 years old.
He is.
As I heard many of the video clips of our veterans who had served over there, and the high number, 100 people are going in, 50 of you are going to come out. And one of the gentlemen said, we knew what the risk was, and we knew that each of us had to have the other person's back. Could you imagine having someone like Bo Bergdahl there, or someone else that's a conscientious objector? That person doesn't have your back.
Yeah, you can't. If you ever watched Saving Private Ryan?
Yes.
And the guy that he's a typist. He does the typewriter, and he can speak a couple of different languages. But he just there's that one scene where the guy gets killed with a knife, and he just kind of hunkers down. And he almost gives up, and at the end he shoots, and that's what these guys remind me of. It's I want someone that I know, because I've been in that position where I've told the two guys I'm with, I'm like, look, it's just the three of us. I'm not sure, people are shooting from all different directions. If this really goes south, I'm going to expend as much ammo as I can. They're probably going to kill us, but I'll fight with you guys as long as you fight for me. We'll fight as hard as we can together. My only thing was I didn't want to be dragged through the streets on TV for my mother to see. That was my biggest thing. But I knew those guys would fight for me. I would never want to take someone out with me that would not fight like I would fight. You know what I mean? Sorry, I didn't mean to say.
James, I am right now brought right back to the first time that I came to the studio, and I was sitting here, and Michelle said nice boots. And I didn't say nice boots.
You said nice boots.
I said nice boots.
I wasn't talking.
It's your perspective, the things that you've seen, the things that you felt, the things that you've experienced that always kind of take me back. That there would be a moment where you would be thinking, you know what, I'm going to expend all this ammo, and I just don't want to be drugged through the streets. Like those thoughts,
It's why the VA needs to get right, because the reality is that they deserve to not have to fight for their health when they come home.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
I fought for you. I shouldn't have to fight you.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So-
And what's surprising to me is that we're not hearing a lot about, because while he was held captive for those 5 years, there were people that went looking for him and that died, and we're not hearing a lot about them.
I did read an article, though, that none of that has really been proven. That those are the stories out there as far as there were 6 people that died while looking for him. But I did read something that's not necessarily proven. And the way that there's a couple other things, like the way the president is getting around this, we don't negotiate with terrorists, is because the Taliban is actually not listed as a terrorist group.
What?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
However,
they're not listed as a recognized government entity or a sovereign nation.
Right. So that's kind of how. So there's a lot of little things. But I did just find this quote from, because I really think there's something weird about the whole him being over there and him alive and emailing his father. I mean, I'm just thinking, I don't know, maybe I'm not thinking of it right, but when I think of prisoner of war, I'm not thinking of someone who has the ability to go online.
Right.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, who would give them that ability? Because then, I mean, can't they say kind of what they've seen or where they're at or the people that have them? I mean, who gives someone a prisoner of war? Who gives them email capabilities? I don't understand that. But on Time.com, they have a statement from a commander with the Taliban that obviously they can't list his name, but his quote was, we are also human beings and we have hearts in our bodies. We are fighting a war against each other in which the Americans kill us and we kill them, but we did whatever we could to make Burdal happy.
Have you seen the video?
Interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. If you watch the video where the Taliban release Bergdahl, it's very interesting because he's actually at one point he's crying, and his captor has a machine gun, or I don't know what kind of gun it is. Have you seen the video?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. I felt that whole thing was like a made up reality show. There was just something very odd about
his captor
all of it.
Kind of pats him on the shoulder a few times. The way that they were engaging with each other, if you took the gun out of his hand, it didn't look like it was a prisoner captor communicative style.
And why did we have one helicopter?
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, there's people with like big old, what do you call those things? Those things with the rocket launcher thingies, and we show up with one helicopter with like 4 guys on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird.
The video of them, landing in the low ground and having Taliban with RPGs on mountaintops around them, that was textbook non-army. That was like the Keystone Cops. I would have never put a helicopter in a valley with guys being able to shoot from above me. That's just me, and then bringing him to the helicopter and searching him there. I mean, that whole thing could have turned into a huge fiasco.
Sure.
And I think the only reason why the Taliban did is because they knew that they would have been dead if they would have attacked that helicopter. But there was the code of conduct. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the U.S. military code of conduct. Article 1. Here, I'll just give it to you real quick. I'm an American fighting in the forces which guard my country and my way of life. I am prepared to give in their defense. And it said, Article 3, if I am captured, I will continue to resist by all means available. I will make every effort to escape and to aid others to escape. I will accept neither parole nor special favors from the enemy. Now, one of the things that you were right when you were saying that it hasn't been proven that people were killed because they were looking for him, but the mission did change, and that became the full focus of finding him. Along with that, the tactics, techniques, and procedures, we call those TTPs, the enemy got way better with attacking U.S. military American forces, and the guys in his platoon attribute to he was helping them. That's their opinion. Not mine. I wasn't there, but I could see that.
Well, I value their opinion much
Exactly.
more than I value the opinion of someone in the White House.
Mhm.
Oh, I certainly don't believe anything the White House says.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
I think they've lost a lot of people's respect. So, but I hope this doesn't. The the release of the soldier does not overshadow the important things that the VA needs to change, because that really is what's important.
And I hope that because of this release, this doesn't encourage the Taliban to take additional Americans as prisoners, because they've just learned, we've just taught them, here's a way to get your bad guys.
See,
And do you remember when I was talking about releasing some of them but then microchipping them like we do dogs? I really hope that they've done that with those 5. I really hope that they have some LoJack on them so that they're able to see where they're going.
Right.
I'm just
saying.
It
doesn't really matter where they go. They have plenty of people that can go for them.
Well, and I read that part of the rules is that they were told that they have to stay away from somewhere for a year. Which I just thought,
they have to stay in like the was it Qatar or United Arab Emirates, something like that for a year.
Yeah.
But then they got there and they said, okay, we're gonna put a tracking device on your ankle, and then you can go anywhere you want. Like that guy's not gonna saw it off.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But the reality is the president's trying to close that prison anyway in Cuba. So sooner or later, I mean, let's hope maybe he doesn't by the time he gets out or whatever. But those prisoners are going to be released, all of them anyway.
I just would have liked, instead of we're going to give you 1 American for 5, I would have liked the messaging to been, give us back our people and we won't kick your fucking ass.
Amen.
Christina said the F word. What's that Toby Keith song? You know, that my favorite Toby Keith song?
We'll put a boot in your ass.
Yeah, we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way.
Sometimes you have to use the F word.
Exactly.
And that's all I have to say about that.
And that's about all we have today anyway. But, yeah. So,
all right.
That's that.
We'll see you next week. This is No Limits Radio Show. I'm Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
And James, thank you for running the board for us today.
You are very welcome.
Everyone, if you love sports, you want to stay tuned, because up next is JD's Rockin' Sports. They might be LeBronin. Hashtag.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud